All right. Hello, ladies and gents. This is Rod and Dima again today with the conundrum number 5 already. We are doing a great job, we believe. And today we're going to talk, and today is 16th of November. We're going to talk about Russian agriculture and opportunities in it because on our channel there are plenty of people, not plenty, but some who are interested in this issue. So I'll pass it over to Rod.
Hi, Dima. One of the major changes that's taken place since the collapse of the Soviet Union is the Russian agricultural sector. During the Soviet times, it was very much collectivism and collective farms, collective enterprises, and they didn't function particularly well. And towards the end of the Soviet Union, things pretty much in agriculture collapsed. For example, grain production in 1990 was 95 million tons. In 92 to 95, it had dropped to 84. And by 96 to 2000, it had dropped to 63 million tons, which is a huge drop by more than one third. By the time that 2005 came along, it was up to 76. By 2010, it was 82. And by 2016, it was up at 104. Now, currently, it's around 120 million tons. So Russia is now a net exporter of grain. So that's an incredible turnaround. And it's not just grain, it produces grains, all various types from wheat, etc. So it's now the world's largest exporter of wheat and grain products. But that's not something for your medium sort of farmer. Now, Russia grows a lot of different things, but there's a lot of things that actually are missing. For example, Russia still imports things like hops, which you mentioned earlier, for growing beer. Now, it's not anything to do with the climate, it's the fact that nobody's actually thought of it, and it was easier to actually import. And a lot of things have been, in the past, easier to import. And so Russia did. Come 2014, when the sanctions started, Russian agriculture in general widened its base and stopped importing things like Polish apples, Spanish tomatoes, etc. They got some of them from other places, but it also became a huge boost to the domestic agricultural production.
Right.
Across the board, or not just grains, but across the dairy sector, milk production has gone up, meat production, poultry production, pork production have all increased dramatically. I mean, for example, on meat production, Russia used to produce around 7 million tons during the Soviet times. That dropped to 3 million tons in 2005. Currently, it's up at 9.2 million tons. So Russia is a net exporter of meat products, although it does import certain foodstuffs, but not from the European Union. It tends to get them from meat from Argentina, for example.
Right.
Is beef, etc. So, and there are lots of opportunities to grow different things. I mean, because of the low cost of gas in the Krasnodar region, they actually have large greenhouses where they actually grow cucumbers and stuff that they used to import, and they can actually grow in these vast greenhouses, and for tomatoes and various other products. So there's obviously opportunities for farmers who don't have a huge land base, but who can become specialists in various types. And that's based on the cost of energy, where German farmers are no longer producing winter salad vegetables. The opportunity is there for Russians or those coming to Russia to actually take up that.
Right.
I mean, a few years ago, there was an influx. I say an influx. I think there was several hundred, it might have even been 1,000 South African farmers who, because of the political situation there with the land and etc., went to the southern region of Russia. The southern region of Russia.
Didn't work out.
It didn't work out. Okay.
Yeah.
But the land down there is very fertile, and it has a temperate climate, which is ideal for 2 harvests a year of many crops.
Yeah, see, the South, if you're new to Russia, the South is a bit of a problem on more of a political, social level, because it's divided into bits, and they're held fast, and it's not easy to get in there. I would suggest, and I was talking about it many times, to start with Central Russia, because there is Moscow, there are big cities everywhere and huge markets, and Russians like new things. They appreciate all the new products. So yeah, there is a huge space for experiments. South is for further expansion. Once you get experience in Central Russia, get a taste of Russia, in good and a bad way. Then you can go to Altai, to Siberia, to Crimea, or to whatever.
Well, in that case, then, as we know, cheese is a major problem, or was a major problem, because of the lack of imported multiple varieties. But a large number of Russian cheesemakers have risen to the challenge, and now there's a huge amount of cheese produced domestically. Now, there's also opportunities for former dairy farmers or dairy farmers to come produce the milk, and rather than just sell milk, to convert it into various types of cheese if they have that experience from their homelands.
Right. And milk products are a staple here, very popular, very many varieties, like unusual for an average European country, I would say. So yes, there are just so many types of yogurt and cottage cheese and sour cream and all that. Yeah, so there is plenty of space.
Oh, and very much so in that niche. I mean, here you've probably never had it, but it's pretty much in every supermarket here. Is kumis.
No, we have it in Russia. Yes. Mare's milk. Yes.
Yeah. Well,
and in Moscow, yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very popular here in Ufa. It's supposed to be good for your guts if you have problems with your guts, and it's very different. So
Right. Yes. A lot of lots of regional differences as well. Yes, in terms of food produced. So it is an open field, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, I've not really actually looked at buying land here. We only own a couple of small parcels, enough for a dacha where we can grow our own. But if you drive anywhere, and we do this quite regularly, which is from Ufa in Bashkortostan to my wife's ancestral homeland, where we still have an extended family in the Republic of Mariel in Yashkar-Ola. Right. We drive, and it's about 700 kilometers across the steppe, and we drive through huge field upon field, very similar to the prairies in the U.S., but
like Iowa or something, or further.
Yeah, like Iowa or whatever, where you literally drive through huge fields of wheat or sunflowers, and sunflowers obviously are a major thing here, not just for they look nice. Sunflower oil is a major production here, and it's a major export. And as we know, the staple diet of your average person certainly in Africa and in the Middle East, is flour cooking oil for cooking, eating. So whenever you have problems with unrest, it's mainly related to a lack of wheat and a lack of oil.
Yes, indeed. And by the way, I included several news, like this small insert that we usually do. We're going to take a look at it now, related to agriculture. Basically, all good news. Cheese related as well. And for our viewers who are farmers or who are interested in farming, we're doing, and I've done it before, I'm giving you
hints and tips on what's hot on the Russian agricultural market. And this here little article says that Russian retail is experiencing a deficit of, planting material. These little trees, they're in deficit because of the sanctions and all that. So keep this in mind. These things are very, very popular in Russia. Lots of people are planting apple trees and all that. Rod will tell you. He's very well aware of all these things. So yeah, that is one thing. And Russia has increased exports of poultry meat this year by 27%. This is for the first 8 months of the year. And the total for this period is 242,000 tons. It goes to China, even though in 2020 China consumed more than half of this whole poultry meat export. Now it's below half. And to the MENA countries, North Africa and tropical Africa. And there are special indicators of food security. So this year, Russia will probably reach this indicator for potatoes, but for fruit and berries, it will be possible to reach this only in 5 years. For potatoes, it means that 95% of potatoes consumed will be grown inside of Russia. Then there is this little piece about milk farming in Russia, and it says that milk enterprises with the number of heads of cows of over 1,000 are more profitable, and there is a tendency for a number of them to grow. Profitability for farms with over 1,000 heads of cows is 23 to 24%, which is quite high. It's quite high. And it also says here that the amount of milk produced in Russia in January to September 22 has grown by 1.2% compared to the same period of 21. And this is on a lighter note, so to speak. Over the past 5 years, consumption of cheese in Russia has grown by more than 25%. Cheese has become the most dynamically growing segment of consumption in the Russian Federation over the past 5 years, says the head of the National Union of Milk Producers. We have a rather low level of consumption, 5 kilograms per year per head of population compared to 15 kilograms in Europe. So over the past 5 years, this has grown by 26%.
So yeah, there are obviously going to be lots of opportunities. Certainly not in my experience as a farmer, despite the fact that my father was one.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I grew up on a sheep farm in the mountains.
Oh, right. All right.
So we had several breeds of sheep, and we didn't grow much because we lived on the side of a mountain. So we had a small market garden that grew turnips and a few potatoes and whatever. But that was that. And I left as soon as I could to pursue other paths because I was not particularly green-fingered, although I do the odd bit of digging at the dacha, but I'm not a farmer.
Right.
I enjoy the good fresh produce, and that's one of the things that I do enjoy about living in Russia is the abundance of quality food that you can buy in the markets or even in the supermarkets. It's fresh produce. And it's not sanitized. If you go to a supermarket in the UK, for example, the carrots are bright orange.
Right.
In Russia, you have to wash the dirt off them when you get them home.
Right.
So they're not all washed and bagged and whatever. You pick the potatoes, you pick the carrots, you pick the onions you want, and you bag them and you weigh them. Which is great. And it's a wonderful selection of vegetables that you can get here.
There is a variety. Yes. I've shown it like on several occasions on this channel. Yes. So a lot. I keep repeating myself, but just a lot of opportunities for sure.
I'm not sure about the cost of land. Perhaps you can tell me, Dima. Is it expensive comparatively?
It's not just inexpensive. It's basically free. If you go and do, say, for example, meat or milk farming in to the east or north of Moscow, they will give it away either for nominal amounts, for peanuts, basically, or for free. Honestly, like
Wow.
yes, you can lease it for nominal amounts, or you can just have it for free if you put it into cultivation, if you use it for agricultural purposes. Yes.
Yeah, if you invest in agriculture.
Yes. You can get houses for free, believe it or not, in villages, livable ones. Not like, of course, not like a luxurious accommodation, but something that you can refurbish and live with your family, with roof and all the things nice. Or buy them for like 5,000, 10,000 rubles. I saw it with my own eyes. So yeah, and there are plenty of places like that. Yeah. So
that's interesting. I mean, it's not interesting enough for me to look to taking it up, but it's certainly something that perhaps those viewers will have a different view, because I know that in Europe, agricultural land is quite expensive, and
Canada and the States, yes.
Yeah, and in the UK, for example, they're cutting the amount of agricultural land available and putting it back to so-called rewilding and back more natural. Plus, they're covering lots of, which is quality agricultural land, with solar panels. I mean, it's crazy that you wouldn't put good quality agricultural land into cultivation, but you set it aside for something that is a vanity project.
Yeah. Well, see, in Russia, millions of hectares has been rewilded, and then the Russian government and many people here want them to dewild them back into normalcy. So no solar farms in Central. Not too much sun, unfortunately. Well, there is actually. There were several sunny days in November in Moscow, which is unusual. November is the darkest month of the year, actually. But yeah. No, we are dewilding.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't get here in Ufa. I'm looking out the window and there's snow on the ground, and it's -10. So
we had snow yesterday, actually, first snow. Yeah, and it's minus like 3 probably.
It's -12 overnight here, and plenty of snow. So I don't think solar panels on the roof would do me any good.
Yes, no.
So on agriculture, obviously Russia is the largest country in the world. In fact, just Siberian Russia is the largest country in the world. Although there's not a huge amount of agriculture takes place there, mainly because there's not a lot of people. So
yeah, in the south, it's Altai is in the south of Siberia, and is one of the major agricultural regions in Russia. And there is a guy, Justice Walker, you probably know, the American farmer. Have you heard of him? No, he's been around for 20 years, and he's got a channel on YouTube, and he's got a homestead there, and he's doing some like community projects, bringing in people, trying to adopt them as farmers or something. Yeah, he even has a movie now.
Great.
I saw him in advertising. Yeah, speaks perfect Russian.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously things changed, but Russia. We still have to remember and pinch ourselves. Russia's still only 31 years old. Right? From the Soviet system, everything pretty much ceased to exist. The collective farms and the way of doing things. So Russia, which collapsed in the 1990s, agriculture in particular, and didn't really start recovering until the early 2000s to mid 2000s. So there are obviously a lot of opportunities, and there's for innovation in agriculture. Where in the West, they've been doing everything the same way, and obviously, if the costs of land is good, as in low price or whatever, and the cost of fertilizer is low. I mean, Russia's the largest producer of fertilizer in the world, and it exports,
yes.
Yeah, and it exports about 40% of the world's fertilizer to well, it did until recently, until they all decided that they could print money, and they thought, well, if we can print money, we can print everything else, which didn't actually work out too well. So obviously, it makes cultivation of the land that much better. Plus, the quality of the land is there. The problems with a lot of land in the West, particularly in North America, is it's being worked out with the mass use of fertilizers and pesticides, which have drained the nutrients of the soil, which is why in the last sort of couple of years, you've had droughts in California leading to Dust Bowl, where the soil just dries up and blows away, similar to the Dust Bowl that you had in the 1930s.
20s, yeah.
Where with Russia, you're unlikely to get that simply because there's one thing you can guarantee in Russia, that's a very good winter. You may not get a great summer, but you're guaranteed at least a real winter. Some are bad, some are reasonable, but all of them are cold and wet. So you're never, ever going to have a drought. I mean, I live in Ufa, and it's on the confluence of 3 rivers. And every spring when the snow melts, the water levels of the river rise. And in some cases, 15 or 16 feet. You know, we're talking 3 meters that the river level rises. So it's quite interesting to see where there's a beach on one of the rivers, and in the springtime, you can't see it. Literally, it is underwater. And there's several buildings there, and I think the way they're constructed is they're just used to being flooded and then dried out.
Right. Yeah, plenty of water too. That's another thing. Plenty of water everywhere in Russia, pretty much everywhere except some regions in the European South. But other than that, water is plentiful. Water is plentiful. Yes.
So and you have water, good soil, and fertilizer, all the ingredients that you need for agriculture. Now, I read that recently that in the Crimea, they have really begun to really move with their wine cultivation and viniculture. And that's really beginning to move. So for those who come, there is definitely opportunities. And what more do you need? Land, water, fertilizer, quality soil, and some inspiration.
Yes, indeed. All right. So was a nice chat, informative. Thank you, Rod, for taking part again. And please like and subscribe and share this with your friends, and leave comments, ask questions. We will answer them if we can. So thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.